The wind howled across the desolate plains of Virex 7, carrying with it the scent of burning ozone and charred metal. Once a scientific outpost, the settlement had been reduced to rubble during a surprise meteorite storm 3 days ago. Of the 25 crew members stationed here, only 6 were confirmed alive. Commander Rian Malik was one of them, and he was currently dragging a young alien girl through the jagged ruins of a collapsed biolab. Her name was Kataili. Barely 14 by human standards, she was part of the Teliari, a race of humanoid aliens that resembled humans save for their violet skin, iridescent hair, and bioluminescent patterns that shifted with emotion. The two species had been working together for less than a decade, and while tentative alliances were forming, understanding each other's biology was still a developing science. Kataili's left arm hung limply by her side, twisted at a sickening angle. "It's broken," Rian muttered, kneeling beside her and examining the limb. Her normally bright facial markings were dimming to a bluish gray, a sign of pain he'd learned. No, touch it," Kataili whimpered. "It hurts." "It is not for touching like that. I have to reset it," he replied firmly. "If I don't, it could heal wrong." Her eyes widened, and her markings flared into a jagged red, a clear sign of distress. "Reset. That means break it again. That's barbaric." He shook his head. "It's not breaking it more, it's putting it back in place. I've had it done to me. It's gonna hurt, yes. But it's the only way." Kataili hissed, her voice rising to a sharp, shrieking pitch that echoed through the destroyed corridors. She clutched her arm tighter. "You are not Teliari. You do not know our ways. We heal through energy. Slow. Careful. Not snap." Rian glanced at the sky. The next ion storm was only hours away. Their comms were down, and no medbots had survived the meteorite impacts. They had no advanced healing chambers. Only grit and field medicine. "I know you're scared," he said. "But you can't wait for a chamber. We're stuck here. You need to trust me." She shook her head violently. "You do not understand the pain. Our nerves are not like yours. We feel every change." And yet Rian had no other option. "I won't do it unless you say yes," he said, his voice quiet now. "But if you don't let me help, you could lose that arm." Her eyes widened, the glowing irises shifting to a soft teal, hesitation, uncertainty. Finally, after a long moment, she nodded. "Fast," she whispered. "Do it fast." Middle. Kataili's scream shattered the air as Rian grasped her arm and pulled sharply, guiding the bone back into alignment with an audible pop. Her markings flared blindingly bright, and for a moment he thought she might pass out. He didn't. Instead, she grabbed his sleeve with her good hand, gritting her sharp teeth and breathing raggedly. "Barbaric," she muttered, eyes blazing. "So, barbaric." But the bone was aligned, and he'd wrapped it tightly with a thermoplastic splint from his emergency kit. It wasn't perfect, but it would hold until help came. "I'm sorry," Rian said, brushing damp strands of silver hair from her brow. "But you'll heal now." Kataili didn't respond. She was staring off into the ruined horizon, as if listening for something he couldn't hear. "What is it?" "They're coming," she whispered. Rian stiffened. "The search team." "No. The other ones." His blood ran cold. She slowly turned to look at him, markings dimming again. "You do not know all that fell from the sky during the storm. Something woke. They took shelter in the remains of the Arboretum that night." Rian had managed to get a solar emergency light working, casting a dull orange glow across the half-collapsed dome. Kataili didn't sleep. Her eyes were fixed on the jagged shadows beyond the glass, and every now and then, She would whisper words in her native tongue, something like a prayer. "What woke?" he asked again finally. Kataili hesitated. Then, quietly, she began to explain. There were old ships under the ice, buried, long ago before Teliari came, before your people, in the glacier fields. The storm cracked the ground, and the power awoke the machines. Machines? Rian frowned. Hunters, she said. Old ones. Not alive, not dead. Made to kill. All species. No warning. No mercy. It sounded like one of the ancient war drones rumored in alien archives. Automated exterminators from a pre-galactic age. But those were myths. I saw one, she added, voice trembling. It pulled Dovek apart. His glow stopped instantly. Rian clenched his jaw. Dovek had been a Teliari biologist. Gentle. Curious. He didn't argue with her. The fear in her voice was real. Whatever was out there, it wasn't friendly. The next morning, the two set out toward the ridge where the emergency beacon had last pinged. Rian carried Kataili on his back for part of the way, and she remained mostly silent, only occasionally letting out a pained breath or soft growl as the terrain jostled her arm. They reached the ridge by midday. The beacon was there, but it had been destroyed. Ripped apart not by impact but deliberately. Claw marks, Kataili whispered. You see. Rian knelt, touching the bent metal. Indeed, deep parallel gashes. Something strong, sharp. Movement. A flicker in the distant snow. Down, he hissed, pulling her behind a chunk of debris. They watched. Lumbering through the snowy haze was a machine, roughly humanoid in shape, but 8 feet tall, with skeletal limbs and rotating optics that glowed a sickly green. Its feet crunched through the snow as it scanned the area with a high-pitched whine. Paused, turned, and began walking toward them. No weapons, Rian whispered. Nothing heavy enough. Kataili reached inside her cloak and pulled out a small crystal, crackling softly with residual energy. What is that? Core shard. It overloads energy machines. Why didn't you use it before? I needed it to survive the cold. But this is worse. She held it toward him. You're faster. Closer. Use it. Make it touch its core. Rian didn't hesitate. Taking the shard, he looped around through the snow and rubble, circling toward the mech. Saw him. Raised a jagged appendage. Too late. Rian leapt, plunging the shard into a glowing plate on its chest. The reaction was instant. Violent. Electricity sparked. The machine shrieked, limbs flailing as its systems overloaded. It collapsed in a plume of smoke. Rian stumbled back, coughing. Is it dead? Kataili asked as he returned. I think so. No. It called others, she said grimly. They will come. Always more. Ending. They reached the high cliffs by nightfall, one of the only parts of the landscape untouched by the storm. A makeshift antenna relay blinked softly on the outcrop. Somehow it still worked. Rian sent the signal. Help would come in 2 days. We need to hide, he said. Stay quiet. Until then. But Kataili shook her head. No more hiding. You reset my arm. You did what was needed, even when I screamed. Now I do the same. What are you talking about? She walked to the cliff's edge and lifted her good arm. Her markings flared brighter than he'd ever seen them. Teliari light is power. Can blind, even kill machines. But it burns us to use. Rian moved toward her, alarmed. You'll be hurt. I'm already hurt. But if I don't stop them, they'll find you before your people come. No, Kataili, there has to be another way.